Hello everybody! Welcome back to another Shadowverse Worlds Beyond video, and today we're going to cover the next batch of the set 4 cards being revealed and some other news as well towards the end. So make sure to watch the entire video if you have the time, right? We also will be revealing a card that got released very recently. As I was like making this video, I decided to like just slip it in before I publish this video. So yeah, let's get right into it, shall we? So first off, we got Wamdus, my favorite card out of this set. You know, my favorite character, I guess I should say, because her card isn't like the best. So let's take a look at her card. So Wamdus, Water Personified, 3 mana, legendary, 3 playport legendary, 0/1 stat, Runecraft follower. On spell boost, she gains +1/+1. So if you guys remember, there is already a card that's kind of like this, and it is the Runeblade Conductor, the 5 mana card where like on fanfare they would deal the amount of damage or based on the amount of spell boost they have. But sadly, like Wamdus doesn't do that. Instead, she does super evolve, select a mode to activate. Number one would be give all other followers barrier. And the second one would be deal X damage split between all enemy followers. X is equal to this follower's attack. So the second like super evolve is basically just Flames of Chaos. And I'm like, why do we need a unit for something that's literally just a spell? And we're like, oh, the flexibility and the body on the field, right? The body on the field probably is not as strong as you think it might be, because number one, there's like as more sets get added, of course, this we're in set 4 already, there's gonna be more single target removal for a card like Wamdus. Yeah, like it needing a super evolve is kind of a big commitment for uh runecraft in general, because you typically want the super evolve during your Kuon because it's a stronger turn, and you also need a super evolve for your Cock Decline combo. So like losing super evolve is losing storm, and losing storm means that you lose reach and you might not have a way of closing out the game in a safe manner, right? And that's literally the entire thing about Rune. That's why people play Rune, is because they want like a safer and like more consistent like way of winning. In exchange, of course, they have a weaker early game. Now, the other effect though, give all other allied followers barrier. While that might sound good, and you're like, oh, that's pretty good because you can do something like maybe you play Norman, you evolve Norman, they didn't manage to clear Norman, maybe they removed the barrier but didn't fully clear, then you can apply barrier to the entire field you're about to build, and you can also do some stuff with Blaze Destroyer, right? If you guys forgot, like Blaze Destroyer is still in the game. It's an 8/6 that can go up to a 0 cost if you spell boost the card enough. So maybe you can do this thing where you play maybe it's turn 8 and you play adding Greya, and then you play Wamdus, and then you like fill the board with a bunch of Blaze Destroyers, then you slam this, you super evolve with barrier, then it's really hard to clear, right? Well, like lines like that exist. I do think that it's definitely on the underwhelming side, Wamdus as a card, but that won't stop me from crafting her and actually playing her. Sadly, because of the power level of the card, I would recommend just running maybe one copy of her, at most 1 to 2 copies of her. There's definitely no way you are using 3 copies of Wamdus just because their super evolve is probably not gonna be as good. Right. Of course, there are some like exceptions for matchups. For matchups like let's say into Dragon and into like board-based decks, this might be really strong, but to any other control like a base decks or decks that have other forms of removal, maybe banishes, maybe minus stats, right? Like if you're fighting like an Izudia deck, right? The unkilling. I mean, you guys know how annoying that is for people that want to take advantage of barriers. So yeah, Wamdus probably mid card, but still the best character in this set in my opinion. All right, let's move on to another card, and this time it's the card that Igni revealed. Shout out to your boy Igni. All right, Delafil's Gleaming Gems. So Delafil Gleaming Gems seems like it's support for Amulet Haven. All right, so you have three play point gold amulet card, engage. effect is destroy this card and select a mode to activate. Destroy a random enemy follower or draw 2 cards. Now, some of you guys might think that this is for Crest. I think this card actually enables like Storm Amulet Haven more than Crest because this seems kind of nasty with cards like Agnes. And if you guys don't know or remember what Agnes does, she like gets to destroy a unit while hitting the face or hitting something else that like you can probably just hit face. Typically you have 2 units to deal with, 2 cards to deal with on the field. Maybe you play Agnes like with this being set up, you hit the face and then you use the engage effect of this to destroy the other one and then you continue snowballing. That's how I see like this card being used. It could be wrong, of course. The destroy random enemy follower could be used by Crest as well, of course, because of more, of course, removal. It's really good for them. Yeah, it's just a really good card. Destroy for 3 mana. It's kind of like a field down without like an evolve. Though of course it's random. It kind of draws comparison more so with the 2 mana spell that Runecraft has, but in a form of an amulet. Right. Of course, there's also an option to just draw 2 cards, which is like the value for 3 PP typically. So draw is kind of like a mid, like it's not like super duper. It's fair, yeah, it's fair. And then like the destroy one, I think is the one that's more important when it comes clutch. Flexibility in the mode cards is always nice. So yeah, really good card. I don't know if this card is gonna be a staple or anything, but like for Amulet Stormhaven, it's definitely gonna be like a must add to the deck. Any other deck, it's probably up in the air. Let's see. In the future, cards that they'll reveal, I guess, for Havencraft. And then next up, we have Wilnas. 7 PP, 8/6 legendary Dragoncraft follower. Alright, so his fanfare is select an enemy follower in the field and deal 8 damage to it. So it's basically just destroy for the most part, right? Like outside of cards that are super evolved that have like 9 HP, maybe Serb or maybe like Sincere, right? So Wilnas can't deal with those, but he can basically just deal with anything else. Alright, so if you can see over here, his effect is on evolve, you will replicate the same effect of this card. So it's good for dealing with wide, big boards. Though I do think this is kind of underwhelming, right? Not in the power aspect, because I do think that power-wise, this card is definitely not like bad because hey, it's an 8/6 with Intimidate. Alright, it's an 8/6 with Intimidate. Though, like, while it's like good value, I do think it's on the slower side for Storm Dragon because typically you want to play cards like Forte, you want to play cards like Garyu, like Odin, right? Like Wilnas is kind of like something that baits out hard removal, hard single target removal from your opponent while also removing yourself. It's a nice like card for the in between pressure, right? Because like having an intimidate board is always gonna be annoying for somebody because it forces out cards from them. Though I just get the feeling that this won't be as good outside of like a big statted intimidate card on the field. I bet there's gonna be a lot of fun with people that wants to experiment with Intimidate Dragon though, because if Intimidate Dragon becomes a thing, then this is definitely gonna be one of the cards that you wanna add. But yeah, like for me, Wilnas probably needs more support or maybe needs more cards alongside him for me to think that, oh, this is a good card. Yeah. Also, it probably would need to have matchups where this would make sense. Until then, like I would say, just play your Fortis, just play your Garius, right? The good thing about this, like Wilnas card though, is it doesn't need super evil, but at least so there's that. Anyways, moving on. Next up, we're going to Abysscraft, and Abysscraft got a lot of cards. Like, holy, they actually have a lot of cards revealed, right? Like compared to the rest. Like I think last set it was like this too. They typically show a lot of like Abysscraft cards. So let's get right into it. Almedia, Admiring Battlehammer, 2 Playpoint 3/1 Bronze Abysscraft follower. Enhance for Evolve this follower. So it's a free evolve and gain +1/+1. So it goes from being a 2 mana 3/1 to a 4 mana 6/4. So in case you guys are confused, you evolve this follower, you get +2/+2, right? And then it also gains +1/+1. So it's basically getting a super evolve like amount of stats. Of course, without the super evolve effect, but like the super evolve amount of stats just because it you add 2 mana into it. And with or without that enhanced effect, it has rush. So this is kind of insane because this kind of makes mode abyss early game really good. So you're like, oh, mode abyss. Well, why would mode abyss play this? Well, as a like you can use the cyclone with this, right? You can use the cyclone with this. Let's say somebody's trying to pressure you, just like how most people deal with mode abyss. You can use the cyclone to summon this 2 times in order to clear the board. And like since it's a 3 attack, it can clear a lot of like a good stuff in the early game. Maybe a UD, maybe like an Octress, right? Probably not a fighter. A fighter, you'd be able to clear a fighter on turn 4. That's the funny part, right? There's like you're not entirely reliant now on the 3 mana spell to clear to clear for you. And not only that, you also don't have to rely on the RNG of that 3 mana spell in order to remove stuff in the early game that may snowball and just like kill you outright. So yeah, this card I think is actually good in any deck. Yeah, like 4 mana, 6/4 is yeah, it's actually insane value, and there's no drawbacks too. There's no drawbacks. But one of the most important things about like being able to self-evolve for this card is, of course, the SBA mechanic. So if you guys don't know or you haven't watched my previous video, SBA mechanic is literally the turn order. If you evolve, it increases the count by 1 if the SBA cards are at your hand. Like a really good card, easily one of the best cards in the set in my opinion. And it's not just that they also got Corruption, which is a 5 play point gold Abysscraft spell that gives all followers in the field -2/-2. Yes, that means it includes your units as well, right? And then it gives both players a crest, Corruption. And then the crest effect is at the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to your leader. So both players get that, right? Both players get that crest. And it's equal to 8 damage on both sides. Yeah, it's quite interesting. If you if you're in SSBA though, it doesn't give you the crest, or like it destroys your crest, right? In comparison to the leader, which they will have the crest going. So what is this card for? I assume this card exists as a combo piece for the Belial card when con. So in case you guys don't remember, Belial's when con is like if you manage to get SSBA and like stall out the game for 4 turns, then the Belial crest will deal 20 damage to their face. So you're like, okay, how does this work with that? Well, Havencraft, for example, has a barrier, and I think we are going to get more of that effect in the future because they also announced like some cards for Swordcraft, and then I researched some of them. Some of the cards in the GBF, like in the GVF collab in Shadowverse 1, had an effect where they gave you a barrier as well. So this is probably to have counterplay for those type of situations, because it's probably gonna be annoying or unfun to play the Belial and then they just barrier the 20 damage thing, right? So this is one way to deal with it. If you want to use this for aggro, go ahead, but I wouldn't recommend it personally because like there's faster cards. Like yeah, this doesn't print a board. This is just like giving somebody like a crest. I would say that it's probably more effective to play units that deal damage to the face instead for aggro decks. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong. That's my take right now for this card. Not the best card for the Abyss set, but that's only because they have way better cards, right, coming up. And one of those cards is Baal, Resonance of Elements. So Baal is a 3 play point 2/2 silver Abysscraft follower. So you're like, oh, 3 mana 2/2. Why are you so hyped about? Why are you so hyped up about this? All right. So this is another mode card, meaning this is a card that's gonna be permanently in Mode Abyss. And not only is it really good as a card for Mode Abyss because it has mode, but it's just a good card in general. So let's take a look at the mode effects. Number one would be give another random allied follower in the field, and this follower +1/+1. So you can make your 2 mana 2/2 that sticks hit as strong as a barrel, right? And that's kind of insane. Maybe that's an Ortus, maybe that's a Mummy, maybe that's like Beryl herself. You can make Beryl a 4/4 and hit for 4 damage from the get go if she manages to stick, right? Like you can make the skeleton hit for 2 damage because like typically people don't want to use anything on a 1/1 skeleton, right? So you can buff a skeleton, you can buff anything that you put in the early game, right? Maybe you're mode abyss and then you're like, okay, I'm against aggro or I'm against an aggressive deck. I play Scamnacha on turn 2, right? And then like I play this card on 3 and then suddenly you have a fighting chance of surviving the early to the turn 5, turn like 6 range in which you will be able to stabilize and win games more consistently in a controlly fashion. So yeah, like this card I would say is one of the best as well. Like that bronze card and this card just made it so the early game of Abysscraft is gonna be way more consistent, way stronger, and low key might even be like might even be an indicator that mid-range Abyss will have more weapons. And mid-range Abyss has been like very decent recently, especially like with how the meta has developed nowadays, very control based. So one way to deal with that, of course, is like aggression at certain points where like control decks are weaker. So like one of those situations is definitely like the first 2 to 4 turns, 1 to 4 turns, and cards like this will definitely perform really well, I think. But that's just my prediction. All right, and next up, Fediel. All right, so the third like dragon that they release of the 6 dragons gonna be Fediel. 7 playpoint 5/5 legendary follower. And she has the fanfare of Necromancy 6, Reanimate 2, and Reanimate 1. Right? And then evolve them. At the end of your turn, give all the enemy followers on the field -2/-2. So it gives you like a Grimnir crest at the end, and it's a better Grimnir crest because if they can kill, you can prevent lethal at least by like removing some of their attack, and it evolves a Reanimate 2 and Reanimate 1. So why are you so excited about Reanimate 1? In case you guys don't remember, the Cerberus dogs are gonna be the Reanimate 1. And if you play Genzetsu, the Foxes are gonna be on Reanimate 2. So if you Reanimate 2 and Reanimate 1, you can potentially get 2 units that one of them is being a 4/5, like that, yeah, a 4/5, and the other one is gonna be either a 4/3 or like it's either a 4/3 or a 3/4. So that's kind of insane value. Remember, you don't need an evolve point to use this. You just need necromancy. Yeah, like not only is that going to be insane for increasing your SBA count, right, in order to get Belial as SBA, but that's just gonna be insane value at the board in general, right? And that's like a 7 mana. It's not like Fediel is low started as well. Like Fediel is 5/5 herself. So that's insane value. It's like a better Charon, right? It's literally like a better Charon, right? And the 2/2, like let's say you have a Grimnir Crest alongside this too, and then you decide to super evolve Fediel, even the biggest boards will fall to just with this one card. So yeah. Alright. So the card that you guys might not know about because like it's very very recent as I am uploading this video, it just got announced, and it is going to be Nehan. So big shout out to Catherine. Like it was the first translation that I saw about this card, and Nehan looks stupid. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, Nehan looks kinda stupid. So you're like, okay, what do you mean? You know Reina, right? Reina is a 7 mana 7 mana card, and it requires an evolve point in order to evolve everything that's unevolved in your field. Nehan doesn't even need an evolve point. All right. The only thing that you pay for is the fact that you it does 2 damage to your leader. That's it. It does 2 damage to your leader. In exchange, your entire board is evolved. So, oh, how is that? How is that insane? How is that stupid? How is that good? Well, simply put, they just printed the card that made SSBA easy as hell to achieve. All right. You can literally do this thing where you can just drop a bunch of skeletons with Nehan, or maybe you had a zombie on turn 5 that was unanswered, and then you play like the zombie and then the bunch of skeletons. You slam Nehan, and then suddenly you can get up to 4 evolves for free, and that's like +4 on the SBA count, which is stupid insane, right? And not only that, Nehan also has Drain, meaning that 2 damage that was dealt to your leader can be whatever because you just heal it back up. Maybe use an evolve point, right? And like that's what you typically bring Gilnelis for anyway, a form of healing. And yeah, like that that's kind of insane. You can even do this thing where you play this card with like Gilnelis, so you have like a more healing. So if your issue is healing, Nehan can also do that thing for you, right? While it doesn't have the Gilnelis late game finishing like a card, it does have like a win con unlocking and a shit ton of pressure. So yeah, I'm really high on this card being one of the best cards in the set, right? But that's if they use the SSBA mechanic. If Abyss ends up not even using the SSB mechanic, then I can easily see how this card might be like a one-off or like a just a whatever card. But if they actually play Belial, nah, like this is a must-have if Belial is becomes the meta. So yeah, that's gonna be it for now for the cards that are revealed. Also, as a last note, they actually tease. I think like I saw this on Twitter, right? And Seophon will also be included in the first ever GBF collab for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. So you guys are wondering, oh, why isn't Eternal here in in the Six Dragons the Six Dragons like GBF collab set? Well, like I think is for lore reasons because from what I remember, Seraphon was actually like kind of a part of the story about the six dragons and how Luwo was about to kill like Dancho, Butman, and then Seophon did the ping pang palapong ping. But yeah, I'm not gonna like talk about that. It's not a lore video, but yeah, like if you guys are wondering, probably because of lore reasons why they added Sephon. And I'm happy to see this guy's punchable face again in Shadowverse, which I think he's going to do some evolve Gugu Gaga stuff again because in Shadowverse 1, he also had an effect similar to Nehan where he would evolve everything on the field. And it actually had some OTK combos because of that. So yeah, if you guys like the coverage, like the updates, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow for the next batch of updates or the next batch of card reveals. So yeah, have a nice day, everybody. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.